Hi there guys, CM back again. And since, World of Tanks is updated to 1.4 and I still haven't gotten my ping problem sorted yet, but that will be soon TM. And so therefore don't have a lot of replays I can use due to the new patch. I figured I'd do something different. Right, so today I'm going to be playing some Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Obviously with all the DLC. And this is a game I have not played in a little while, so I figured I'd do a run, see what you guys think, maybe do this like as a weekly thing. Just something to chill out with every now and then, other than the normal World of Tanks games and replays. So this is one of my absolute favourite games of all time. So Binding of Isaac is a roguelike dungeon crawler. You only use two sets of controls, really. So if I go into my options and then just have one for controls. So for movement, WASD, shooting is your arrow keys. You can drop bombs with your E key. Use your item with your space key, and then you can use a pill or card as a power up with your Q button, and then to drop, well, anything. You'll drop both your pill and card and your held item by holding left control. And of course the map can be brought up with tab. So, with that in mind, let me show you guys the Binding of Isaac. I'm just going to start off just a normal run with Isaac there. So, you always start in the cellar. And immediately we found our item room. Not a great start. Spider butt is an active item, so it'll pop up in your top left corner there. And basically what it does is it shoots out a few tears and will drop a puddle of white goop, which slows down enemies, and the tears will do decent enough damage, but not a whole lot. But they'll also slow down enemies as well. See, these are some of your standard enemies that you'll see early on. Basically all they do is just chase you around the room. Of course there are TNT barrels scattered about. Got a decent little chest there with some bombs I can use to blow up this right here. Now those blue hearts there, those are soul hearts. Those are essentially shields. Red hearts are your normal health that you can regenerate by picking up more of them. Soul hearts, once they're used, they're gone until you pick up more of them. So, you get rooms like this where there may be no enemies, but there might be a few things you can use. So, I'm going to drop a bomb right here, and that's going to give us an extra charge for our active item, which with Isaac is the D6. Now, what the D6 does is it rerolls an item on an item pedestal like the spider butt that we saw once. So, it'll change that out for another random item out of the pool of items that can be picked up. So that'll count for most of the ones that you can unlock. And you can do it in boss rooms, you can do it in, like I say, any that has a pedestal. So moving on, that means I know I've at least got 2 rerolls. So those spiders there, they're going to be the bane of your existence for quite a lot of the game. Because they are some of the more annoying enemies. They're kind of random, they're unpredictable in the kind of routes that they take. Now, right there I picked up a key. Keys are going to be one of your main resources in this game. You're going to need them for opening item rooms, you're going to need them for opening your shops, and of course to use shops you're going to need coins. So you get a few different kinds that reward you different amounts of coins. And of course different items get you different items cost different amounts. So you can buy things like extra bombs, extra soul hearts from your shops. Your big spiders here, they always split up into 2 smaller spiders. With your base damage, the little spiders are 2 shots. The bigger spiders have a little more health. They got, I think, 4 shots of health. Most enemies will do only half a heart of damage until after you beat the Mom's Foot boss, which we'll see later on. After that point, you'll take a whole heart of damage rather than just a half heart. This is one of the longer rooms to get done when you've got base damage. You want to get as many items that stack damage and rate of fire as you can, generally. Ones that have damage multipliers are good as well. If you want to see more and see a whole item list, then I'd recommend using the website called Platinum God. So holding down the tab key brings up the map, as you can see there. Also, one other thing that you should keep some bombs for, well, you don't necessarily need to. Then there are secret rooms. Now, they're generally surrounded by a couple of others. In this case, it's quite obvious where the secret room on this particular floor is. It's, of course, to the right of the room that we are currently in. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, since we got a couple of batteries, we're going to re-roll our first item room. So we're going to do that. Now, Gimpy there is a good item to take. So basically, Gimpy, when you take damage, basically just makes you more likely to drop hearts on the ground. I'm also going to take this card here, which is called the Chariot. That basically turns you invincible for a short period of time, lets you do contact damage to enemies. And you'll see that the pill before that I picked up was a range pill. Now that is very, very useful because there are items that synergize with range. And also you're going to want it because you're going to want to stay as far away from your opponents as possible. So this is one of the possible early level bosses. He'll drop bombs, he'll drop little holes that you can fall into. And he'll drop homing bombs, little homing balls as well, like that one. Doesn't have a ton of health, so we're just going to go ahead and chase him around. You can make him blow himself up as well. So Chariot's a very useful item early on, because obviously things don't have a ton of health. And of course, they have actually updated it with some extra items since I last played, so you'll have noticed that I picked up a few things there. Now, the hook there is a good item to take, so we're just going to go ahead and take that. So that gets our rate of fire up by quite a good amount. You'll notice that we're firing a lot quicker now. We don't have a damage up, but at least what we can do now is we can go back and get those soul hearts. And you're going to want to use those because from the second floor onwards, you start seeing what are called devil rooms. Which can basically, when you kill the boss, if you have not taken any red heart damage, then that room will spawn. And it will always spawn on the second floor if you have not taken any red heart damage. And essentially these rooms let you trade away your total amount of red heart health for it's usually a very powerful item. There are some different items in there, so you'll see things that give you flight, extra damage, extra range, extra rate of fire. Those grey spiders there that explode are some of the more annoying ones, I'll also add. Alright, so these guys are called keepers. Well, these are, a form of keeper. They're the most basic one. You see them fairly often. They don't do very much apart from chase you around, but they're quite likely to drop coins, because of course you can see that they've got coins in their eyes. This room is quite annoying because it's quite small. You've got ranged enemies and spiders as well. Like I say, I'm a bit out of practice as well, so dealing with rooms like this when you're out of practice is not ideal. And ones like this that are quite enclosed. These are perfect rooms for these spiders actually, and not so perfect for you. Come on, my dudes. Come on. Yeah, these spiders are annoying because sometimes they'll travel along. God damn it. They're some of the most annoying enemies early game. As you can see, they're quite random. Sometimes they'll walk a long distance, and then sometimes they'll not walk very far at all. So I'm actually going to go into the market since I've got a ton of keys. Stopwatch is a very, very useful item. So if you see a stopwatch like that one, you take it, because that slows down all enemies after you pick it up permanently. It's a very, very good item. So we're going to just go back for the moment and see what we get up here. So there are many bosses. This is Sloth, obviously based on one of the 7 deadly sins. And there are several different ones that can appear in rooms like this. Sloth will drop one of a couple of different items, usually explosion-based ones, poison-based ones. He's one of the easier ones of these mini-bosses. You get ones like Lust and Envy. Envy's one of the annoying ones. You also see that Sloth does spawn mini enemies as well as throwing explosives at you. But, like you see, he is a bit of a pushover. So, Hangman basically just gives you flight for a room. Wheel of Fortune drops a one-armed bandit gambling machine. So, you can spend your coins on those to get things like health, keys, and bombs. So, also, whenever you see a fire like that, extinguish it, because it will likely drop a coin, heart, or something else like that. These pots can also drop coins as well, but they're generally not worth doing that on. In this case, for our boss, we have Pin. Pin is one of the easier bosses to deal with. He will jump at you like that, and then he'll occasionally pop up and throw a bomb at you. Much like this. He doesn't have a ton of health, as you can see. So I'm going to save this health item first before I go into here. And the reason for this, well, if you look at this, I can pick 1 or 2 items. Now both of those are actually pretty decent, but I'm only going to pick this one here. So obviously you can see I moved diagonally to get in there. Now, if I were to take that last item, I would die, because I have no soul hearts. If I had at least 1 soul heart, I would be able to pick it up right now, but unfortunately not. I would like to get that as well. The one I got, though, is one of the better ones. Is actually the better one to go for in this case, because it gives you, well, basically gives you piercing shots that go through enemies to hit multiple times, or multiple enemies. Well, usually multiple enemies. Enemies with more than 1 segment, like Pin just there, for example, are very, very weak to this item. I'm actually going to re-roll this, and that's actually very good, because that gives me a soul heart. That means I can go back in here, and then if I angle myself just right, I can get Maw of the Void, which basically every now and then will produce, if you see that little charging icon in the top, will let me produce this, which basically what that does is it will, well, cause enemies to drop a black heart if you kill them with that beam, essentially that circular beam. That very useful thing to have. I'm going to go into the secret room, which is just here. Or I thought it was. I got bamboozled by the map there. So continuing on, I'm going to just go straight onto the next floor here. So we've got some decent damage, decent rate of fire, and we've got Maw of the Void. Not a whole lot of health, but we can change that easy enough. So I'm just going to hold this down so I can charge it up. And we're not going to go into the challenge room just yet. Instead, we're just going to kill this guy, because this is a bit of a pain to actually get him with Maw of the Void. There we go. So we took down that enemy there. Stem cells, not really worth picking up at the moment, but I'll consider it. Rooms like this one here are usually bedrooms. They can be opened up with bombs, and they're usually gonna be ones that heal you and do things like that. Black Rune I am gonna use, because that's gonna give me a fly helper there, which is gonna be useful in this room, because flies do a good amount of damage, to be honest. These guys are gonna be some of the more annoying enemies to fight, because they're a little random when they pop up their heads. Fuck. Gotta go to the shop here. I would love to take this item here, because this is one of the more options items that gives you more options when basically items drop, but I'm gonna have to take the soul heart here. Basically, more options. There's another one that gives you more for boss rooms. There's one that gives you more for item rooms. Off the top of my head, I think that's the one for item rooms. So we're gonna let that dude just roam around there. We're going to use our Maw of the Void to kill him so we can get a black heart there for more health. These rooms, these guys are little vacuums that suck you in. They're always active. You can't deactivate them. Infinite keys for the rest of the floor. Don't really need it, but hey, it's there. Tried too hard to get a kill with Maw of the Void there. These are the little stone heads. They don't stop firing in this case. There are some that do, but these ones don't. Alright, so now we've got at least one reroll for our item room or our boss room. Fallen, not the most difficult of enemies. Can be awkward at times as to when he actually attacks. And he will always split into two enemies, which, since we've got piercing tears, is actually not too difficult to deal with. Unfortunately, I am trash at this game, so let's just go for a quick restart. Alright, so this is not actually a good item to start with. That gives you a rate of fire up, but it drops your... It's also a damage multiplier that reduces your damage. Libra, that balances out your stats. I think that's Libra. Yeah, so that's not actually one I want to go for either. If I had something like soy milk, which ups your rate of fire to the max, but also minimizes your damage, then I would go for that, because that would balance things out very, very well. Also, that's good that we found the item room right at the start, because that means we can use our reroll from the start and then just recharge it by just going up to the boss room. Easy. So, of course, active items, when you use them, take a few rooms to recharge, but only rooms with enemies. So, rooms like this one where there are no enemies do not count. That was a good little chest there, so that was worth going into. Okay, so double flies, I mean, fairly simple. They follow you around, not got a lot of health. They're fairly slow, but they split into two flies that, you know, then take 2 shots to kill themselves. Fairly similar to the little black and red spiders. However, obviously they can cross over objects, so they're a lot easier to deal with. Plus they just chase you around rather than the spiders, which are a bit more random. Pride. Fairly easy of mini boss to deal with. He drops a lot of bombs, as you can see. He does not damage himself. He also has an X-shaped beam attack like that, as you can see there. Bombs can be a little RNG, but unfortunately, in that case, we did get RNG'd ourselves. Okay, so Duke of Flies. Not a lot of health in this guy, but he's annoying because he drops a lot of these flies. And so he's a bit more time consuming than some other bosses because, of course, these flies do take some time to get rid of as well, and you will need to get rid of them. Of course, this is where piercing tears that go through multiple enemies would be useful. He also drops these bigger flies that have a little more health, so they take 1 extra shot to kill, and they chase you around rather than sticking around the boss. Luckily for us though, he didn't get to spawn any. Now that's a range up. Not great, but I will take it over not being able to reroll. We can go and have a look and see if we can find the secret room though. We have a good few bombs, so we can give it a shot. So I am going to try right here. And we have just found our secret room. So rooms like this are quite common. You'll see an enemy, basically a dead body like that, lurking around in them from time to time. That can drop coins. As you can see, it dropped a coin there that gives us 5, so not too bad. I'm not going to go to the shop here though, it's not really worth my time. So unfortunately here, is a little awkward because we, on the second floor, of course, we want to keep our devil room. But we're also quite low on damage, no piercing tears. And we got our base rate of fire, so our DPS is not great here. And these guys have a fair bit of health. So I can't remember what duct tape does. That's again an item that was added since I last played. Super Envy, again, one of the 7 deadly sins. There's a super version of each sin. So Super Envy. Envy just floats around, splits into multiple ones, does contact damage. You want to focus down one at a time. So in this case, you want to focus down the smaller ones. So you just got to be patient at times. He's not a difficult boss, just annoying. Focus the smaller one there. So of course the more bigger ones that you kill, the more they split up, and the more the room fills. Therefore, the more awkward the fight becomes. You can, of course, use your momentum to speed up your shots, so then they travel faster, so you can hit targets a lot more easily. Same tactic again, just focus down the small ones, and then take down the bigger ones after. Last one always splits into 3 when it comes to those heads. And then these ones always split into 2. This would be a lot easier if we had more damage and a better rate of fire, of course. And even better if we had piercing tears. But unfortunately we didn't get any of those from the last floor. Alright, so that's an item that we can reroll. That basically gives us a protective fly that does contact damage to enemies, and well, that's about it. It's not particularly good, but we can use it to reroll later on if we get some good items elsewhere. Right, so I'm gonna do these. Bomb for a bomb, usually a good trade. So, like I said before, those pots can drop coins. So if you've got a bomb behind some and you use a bomb to open them, it's a good trade. You can see now that there's a little blue spider. That's a friendly one. They do a lot of damage. So basically in this game you can get friendly flies and spiders, and they basically do a certain amount of damage multiplied by yours. Like, they are very, very useful to have. These guys start off slow, but they can turn into faster enemies that chase you about. Basically they can lose. You can shoot their heads off at times. It's a bit RNG, but they can have their heads shot off, and that will cause them to chase after you quicker. So I'm just going to go for the chest here. So I've got a ton of keys, and I get the bomb right back. And that's the only one I'm going to go for in this room that requires a bomb. I would like to find my item room soon, though. Or get a soul heart soon. Okay, so there are some jumpers around that are, again, a little RNG as to where they jump. But first, before we fight the jumpers, we have to take down the ones that are chasing us. And easy enough to do so there. As you can see, there are stronger versions of enemies, like this one here, that have different coloured bodies. Each different colour of body has a different strength. So that one has just more health and is more likely to drop hearts when it dies. I'm going to go into the shop here. We're going to take Mom's key, so now we can, basically we get to double the keys for each key drop, and it gives us 2 keys. Alright, so that's, I can't remember which one that is. That's again one of the different astrology signs. Not worth getting at this point, so let's just carry on to the boss. We've got ourselves a soul heart as well now, which is nice. That was the mini boss, so it's down this way. So we're going to save our reroll for after the boss. Again, we've got Pin. No smaller enemy in here this time, so bit of an easier fight this time. Again, watch out for Pin when he tries to charge at you, because that can be a bit awkward to deal with at times. So you always want to go a bit further away from where he lands when he charges at you. So in this case, we want to go a bit further over here, and he'll pop up here. And then he tries to shoot his explosive at us, and then he just goes there, easy clap. Mom's pill bag, not worth getting. So I'm just going to take that half soul heart, and we're going to go in here. I'm going to take Dark Bum. He will pick up red hearts and turn them into soul hearts after picking up a certain amount. So he's very, very useful to have. And then I'm going to reroll the last one, and then we're going to GTFO, because that is useful. And then I'm going to go check the shop for a battery, because there's a lot that we can use on this floor. I am, however, going to pick up the protective fly over here. Forever Alone, this one is, so this is one of the ones that's got a further reach. Meant to orbit you, but for some reason it's not here. It was in the shop, so let's go to the shop. So let's just drop a bomb right next to this guy. See if he drops a coin. He does indeed, so let's take that reroll and then head on down to our boss room. No, our item room, in fact. The pill bottle. I mean, we've got the mom transformation now, because we've got 3 mom items. Well, we've got 2 mom items, in fact. So that gives us a dagger that follows around behind us, does a ton of contact damage. Perks, I can't remember what this one does. It's an effect from one of the pills. And so now we're going to just head back to our boss room and move on. I'm not going for a quick run here. If you do manage to get past the Mom's Foot boss within 20 minutes, then you will get another devil room. Oh god.
One makes you small.
Okay, so 1 makes you small is good. It shrinks your hitbox. Otherwise, we got an overall nerf there. 1 was neutral. The addicted perk is neutral. These dudes are a bit annoying. They throw bones at you. They're a bit annoying. Alright, so let's go to our item room, because we're already here. Yes, yes, very much. So Magic Mushroom buffs all your stats, gives you a damage multiplier as well as a damage up. It's one of the few true stat ups in the game, as far as I remember. So very worthwhile taking. So that'll make this floor a lot easier now. Okay, so these dudes here, they fire homing shots at you. The homing on them is not super strong, it's just enough to be annoying. Okay, so that mummified spider there shoots 2 tiers that go in a spiral, and then these dudes shoot 4 when they pop up that you can see there. Got ourselves a bomb. Again, we can maybe see if we can find the secret room. Bone dude, it's gonna be awkward. By the way, the spiders by this floor will have gained health. Also, when you find a penny, there is a random chance that it can buff your luck by 1. Here I can show you what the Forever Alone fly does. Of course, you can see it does contact damage to enemies. Quite a lot of ticks per second. We are gonna do this room. This is a challenge room. So not a great result there on what popped out the chest. Those can drop good items like soul hearts, black hearts, and unfortunately none this time. Did give us some friendly spiders that helped against one of the tougher enemies there. And then afterwards, just the easier enemies, to be honest. These dudes, while they're dropping down into their holes, you can still damage them. So bear that in mind. And they're easy enough to defeat there. And we get a half heart, and we're going to let Dark Bum take that, so he's going to give us another soul heart there, which is very nice. We actually got something out of that room. Not much, but it's better than nothing. Fortunately, we can't get to that key because we cannot fly, and there are no rocks that we can detonate with a bomb next to that hole, so we can cover them up. Okay, so these flies bounce about the room. The red one, when it dies, will split into several shots in a pattern. Well, it will shoot 6 like that. You can see into kind of a hexagon pattern. We're gonna let Dark Bum take that half heart again. Whenever he gets the equivalent of 2 hearts, he will drop a soul heart or black heart. Sometimes he will drop an enemy or friendly spider or fly, however. So these guys jumping here are actual keepers. They're some of the more awkward enemies. They will jump around the room at random and will shoot 2 tiers in a V shape at you. Okay, these dudes are, I can't remember the name of them, but they will chase you around and they will fire explosives at you that do a whole heart of damage. So stay away from these guys, they do a lot of damage. Also, that trapdoor right there is another thing. There's basically every floor, there's a chance that there'll be a rock that underneath it will be a secret room like this. This room can have anything from items to... well, items to just coins or a chest or anything else in between. Right, so now we're going to go on to our boss. This dude's one of the easier bosses, to be honest. Although, that's new. I did not know that he spawns that little dude. Right, so you see there that we expended our black heart. That basically does damage to every enemy in the room. Not a lot, but it's better than nothing. There we go. So no devil room this time, but we're going to re-roll that item. And we get Jesus Juice, which is a damage and range up. So it's pretty good, actually. So well worth getting. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our gold charge and we're going to go up to the shop. Alright, so there's not really anything worth getting. So we're going to detonate this guy, see if we get a coin. We do not this time, unfortunately. So we're just going to move on. I will say that, though, by the way, Isaac runs can take a while, so do expect plenty of long episodes for this. I should have waited around because then Dark Bum could have gotten those hearts, but it's no problem. More will spawn. These kinds of rooms, you'll see that there are 2 buttons in this one. So you want to wait until the spikes disappear and then move up to a different point and then do that, and that will keep the spikes down afterwards. So now we've got 15 coins. We can go back to our shop later if we so desire. These dudes are fairly easy enemies. They will slowly chase you about the room, firing a shot at you every now and then. They don't have a ton of health. Fairly easy to deal with. So these dudes are the reason why you make sure you have decent range, because you want to keep them at arm's length at all times. We're going to go for this chest because there's a good chance it will give us a bomb back. And it gave us 2, so worthwhile trade. These little red things that are in the corners, you want to kill those as quickly as you can. They regenerate health if you don't kill them. Fat bats. There are 2 kinds of bats that are similar to these. Well, there's another bat similar to those.
Perks.
And you generally want to stay away from the smaller ones as much as possible. The smaller ones are more annoying. The fat ones have more health and shoot little shots at you, but of course they're super slow and they're easy to avoid. Of course there are like as you can see, there are webs, cobwebs, spider webs in some rooms that will slow you down. Those can be destroyed with a bomb, but that's not worth doing. So in rooms like this, you always want to kill the flies first, if you can. Though if you get the opportunity to kill one of those guys that pops up, one of the skulls there, you should absolutely do so. Okay, so rooms like this that have rocks up and down that cover pills, not worth going for the pills. My bad there. So these guys are called buttlickers. The little guys that are running around instead of floating. They are called buttlickers. They kind of move in a slightly random fashion. And there's usually 2 or 3 tied together. Thank you, Dark Bomb. Okay, so these are little chargers. They'll when you get into their line of sight, so basically in front of them like that, they will charge at you. Not a lot of health, and for the most part they're fairly slow. And if you're across like a gap, then you can dodge them fairly easy. And there is a slight gap between when they charge at you and, you know, when you go at it. And of course, when they charge, they'll stop when they hit a wall. I don't remember what the fishtail does. I'm just gonna stick to my duct tape. So bone dudes, again, these guys you want to keep at arm's reach. So they're one of the reasons why you have good range. Because while... Oh, hello. So while they don't see you from very far, they have one of the better... Basically, they have a slight movement prediction on their shots. Their AI will try and predict which way you will move. Gold hearts there. When you pick those up, that will give you basically an extra around your first heart. So in this case, you can see it's around my soul heart. Basically, when that heart disappears, I will drop a ton of coins. I'm just gonna let Dark Bomb do his stuff. Give me a soul heart, my dude. Thank you. And now we got our item room. And so this map, we have Curse of the Blind. So I don't know what that could be. So there's no point using a reroll. Fortunately, we got Blood of the Martyr, which is a very nice damage up there. So, thank you for being kind there, game. These guys are a little annoying in rooms like this. But we got past them. So this guy can pop up occasionally in place of a shop. This is Greed. He will occasionally pop up in place of a shop. He will always drop an item related to him. He will, even though it's Curse of the Blind, I know it's one of only a few items, so he dropped the Steam sale for us there, which is very, very useful, because that means that all shop items are half price. So very, very useful there. So now we're going to just continue on to our boss room. Okay, so this is Rag Mega. Floats around, spawns little spiders, doesn't really do very much. As he loses health, he will send one of those orbs flying around the room. Also, you can see when he's covered in rags, he cannot be damaged. These orbs that he has flying around them, you cannot destroy them. He will occasionally fire beams at you like that. You cannot destroy these orbs, but you can shoot them to bounce away from you. So keep that in mind. Although Rag Mega does not have a lot of health, so keep that in mind as well. So I'm just going to pick this up. Toothpicks, decent item. It's a tier speed up, and so they so they move faster, and I get a rate of fire up. So that's a pretty decent item overall. So good floor. Even though we had Curse of the Blind, we lucked out. So as you can see there, we got it, and our gold heart disappeared. But that got us a few keys and coins, and that got us a lookup. Another one makes you small, useful pill, and we also got a tears up. So a couple of good pills there. So we've now got a decent damage and a decent rate of fire, decent range, and decent shot speed. So we're doing pretty okay. Alright, so these big dudes are big poops. Yes, they are. And these guys are slightly smaller ones. These guys charge you. The bigger ones spawn even smaller ones. The smaller ones are a bit more random in how they move. The mid-sized ones charge at you. That's about it, really. They're fairly simple enemies. You will see rooms like this that occasionally have 2 keys needed to open them. Are generally not worth going into, but they do sometimes have good stuff. These little ghosts will try and stay away from you while you're moving towards them. They don't have a lot of health, but they will occasionally fire shots. Super Sloth fires 2 explosives at you per shot, and like that, and then spits spiders at you. He can damage himself, however. When he does damage himself, that's gonna be a lot of damage. So on your longer runs, always be sure to shoot all the poops and the fires for chance of more coins and other good stuff. So here, you want to kill the dude in the middle first before going after the wall spiders. So there, I got a heart that was both a red heart and a soul heart. If you have full red hearts, it'll give you a soul heart. If you don't have full health, it'll give you a red heart. These dudes, when they're fully constructed, they will jump after you, and then when they land, they will spit out 6 hearts. When you take them down, when you take their head off, they will follow you around. You can also see when they land, they drop a little puddle of blood that does damage. You can see that without the head, they kind of wander around aimlessly. They do still drop a few shots, but they're not really going to do a whole lot at that point. Loki's horns, I'm not going to take that. That basically shoots your shots in all 4 directions. Metronome, not worth taking either. You can see that these dudes jumping around can be quite awkward to deal with. If they jump around a lot, which is partially down to RNG, then they're kind of awkward to deal with. So, and then you can now see on the shot prediction that these guys use, it's actually pretty good. So on the bone throwers. So okay, so we've got basically a free secret room here. So we know it's probably gonna be to our left here. So we're gonna have a look. Should be right here, if anywhere. However, in this case, it is not. But we've got plenty of bombs, so we can always try different places. And I'm going to use one more to try here. Nope. Not many other places it could be at this point. Alright, so these dudes, when you're in their line of sight, they will fire laser beams at you. Or blood beams in this case. Because, you know, it's Binding of Isaac. That's a mimic chest. They're not worth running into because they will take health in exchange for whatever items they may hold. So we got a couple of more soul hearts there. We got our shop. Baghead is useful. It gives you a better chance of sacks dropping, or sackhead in this case it's called. So always worth going for. This is a donation box. The more you put in this, you do unlock some things for putting items in, or putting coins in there. So we got a battery as well, which is good for re-rolling items. So we're gonna keep hold of that. In fact, no, we should actually take it because we might be able to re-roll our boss room. We've got another bomb as well, so I'm just gonna drop that here. That is the secret room. And we've got another coin. So yeah, we're gonna go back and take that battery because there's not really any other room we can get an extra charge from. In fact, I tell a lie. There is. We're gonna do the challenge room. Strength card there is basically a temporary magic mushroom. Not really worth using. these little dudes, they are called embryos. They float around and shoot. Little jumpers, again, for the build that I have now, not really a problem. There are another version that have blood running down their necks that do more damage. These guys are invincible from the front. Apart from if you're using something that's using contact damage like the fly there, then they are quite vulnerable to items that are like that. So we got a rune there. We got a blank rune. That is very, very useful to get in fact. So now we've got a battery that we're going to use in just a moment. So we're going to re-roll our item room. Lucky foot, always take it. Extra luck is always needed in this game. It's actually a useful stat. And then we're going to pick up our battery right there. And then we're going to detonate this dude here. So we got our Euro Wizard. We're just going to wait this out because that shoots your shots like this. Lasts about... I think it's 20 seconds. So it does make fighting things a bit awkward. So you're going to want to wait until that runs out. There is an item that makes this permanent. And you generally don't want to pick it up. And there we go, back to normal. And then we go fight our boss. Monstro 2. He's one of the simpler ones to deal with. He'll jump at you, spawn spiders, and then after he spawns the spiders, he will shoot a laser beam. His first jump, every time, will shoot some shots at you. And basically just circle him every now and then. He will sometimes shoot his laser when he doesn't spawn flies rather. Always kill the flies when they spawn because you don't want to have them flying around annoying you. You can see I'm trying to use the Forever Alone fly whenever I can because it takes extra damage than walking past. And there we go, Monstro 2 is down. And thanks for the extra soul heart from Dark Bum there. So we're going to go into here. Right, so I don't want any of... Well, Sacrificial Dagger is not bad. Let's see what's in here first. That's a Troll Bomb. Troll Bombs track you and follow you around. They have a maximum range on their tracking, but they're a little annoying. So we're going to just... a blank rune, which is a random rune effect. Sometimes it'll drop an extra blank rune. In this case it did. And then what we're going to do right here is we're going to re-roll these. Alright, so we got Little Brim. So we're going to take Little Brimstone and we're going to peace on out. And then what we're going to do is actually go back and get the last battery that's in the shop. Right here. So this is why I saved this. And also a bomb for this dude. Because we want to re-roll that. Unfortunately, we only get Magic 8 Ball, which is shot speed up, but that's still kind of useful. Death card, useful for rooms with a lot of enemies in it. Basically just damage to everything in the room. Curse of the Blind again. Come on, game. You get a lot of sacks in this room. Which is going to be very useful. That gold bomb there gets us unlimited bombs for the floor. We're going to save that battery. And see what this is, the Lover. So we're going to use that now so Dark Bomb can get another soul heart for us. There we go. See what the challenge room has to offer. Let's do it. The reason why I'm doing it, this is also a boss challenge room. So you do fight boss. This is Loki. He will spawn spiders. You'll see a little brimstone there, charges up and then fires a little laser. It's a good thing we got Little Brimstone first because that means he's the closest buddy to us. Dark Bum doesn't count as this kind of follower because he acts very differently. But you want to get Little Brimstone as your first normal follower because Then you can aim his laser beam very, very easily. It has a relatively quick charge up as well, you can see there. And he's a very good buff to your DPS. Side note, Monstro 2 cannot fire up or down. He can only fire his laser beam left or right. Got another battery there as well, so that's very, very good. Thank you, Dark Bomb, for that. That key, by the way, is also a battery, so keep that in mind. Hierophant we're going to use now. Another 2 hearts there. That moon card transports you to the secret room every time. Hierophant, another 2 soul hearts. So very, very useful. We're not going to take the moon card. We're going to use that later. Alright, so this dude, you can blow him up for either spiders, hearts, or more. Generally not worth spending your health on him, but occasionally useful. That's a cursed room. They sometimes have some useful things, but I'm not going to use it here. We've got plenty of hell here as well. You can see that this kind of room is where Lil Brim is very, very useful. He's a good buddy. He is one of the best ones to get. Rainbow Poop there will restore your health to full. I'm just going to blow this up so I can get at that battery later. We're also going to blow up the skull. Skulls can drop black hearts. So since we've got unlimited bombs, we might as well do it. There are a couple of items that they can drop as well, so keep that in mind. Also, skulls can spawn those dudes, so also be aware of that. Though they're not much of a threat. We're going to use the lovers again, see what Dark Bum can get us. Another soul heart, that's going to be useful. So these dudes can absolutely die on spikes, like that, and they will absolutely throw themselves at those spikes trying to get you. Of course, since we got Curse of the Blind again, we can't see what item that is, so we're not going to pick it up just yet. We're going to see if we can get a rune that will remove the curse on this floor. Because you do get a rune that can do that. These dudes will chase you around and then throw their head at you. Sometimes when you kill them, their head becomes separated from their body. Their head will chase you around and fire the odd shot at you. Not much of a threat. You can see that Sackhead, giving us lots and lots of lovely sacks, is very useful for our resources like our coins, our keys, and our bombs. Hanged Man gives you flight for a room. Alright, so we've got 2 shop items here. This might actually be worth our time. Also, blowing up those beggars gives you a higher chance of a devil room, so do that. Potato peeler, not worth taking, but we can re-roll that. We've got plenty of batteries. Jar of flies, jeez. We've got so many batteries this floor, so I'm just going to use them. Broken Watch, actually a good item. That will give you slower enemies if you take damage, or at random, rather. Sorry, the normal stopwatch will slow everything down if you take damage. Broken Watch is just at random. Sometimes, though, Broken Watch will speed up everything in the room, so keep that in mind. We're not going to bother with that mimic chest, though we are going to bomb this skull, because we've got all the bombs in the universe this floor. And we're going to just bomb that as well. Also, since this is depth 2, we might as well use our next battery. Why am I using it here, you may ask? Well, because this is depth 2, this is where we're fighting Mom's Foot. So, therefore, well, it won't give us the option to come back. So, always worth getting. Transcendent Tears there, Continuum. You can shoot through the walls, and they'll come back the other side. Actually a very useful item to get, so I'm happy with that one. Okay, so, we're actually going to go and find the secret room. We might as well just use bombs instead of the... Whoa! Oh yeah, don't do what I did there and shoot while you're trying to bomb the secret room, because you will probably continuum yourself. It's a good thing having a lot of hearts, soul hearts, and your coins on this floor. I'm struggling for words at the moment. Because, well, I mean, you can do things like that, buy a soul heart whenever you need to, when it's more convenient. There's our secret room. And now we got Super Greed. About time you showed up. He's basically a bigger version of Greed. Drops a ton of coins when he dies. That's about it, really. Still gonna take the coins in case a beggar pops up later on. Or if there's a gambling machine. Temperance, not worth using at this point. Just gonna get all the rest of the coins. Especially if we get an item later on where... oh, hello. Okay, also going through the secret room gave us free entrance to the cursed room. I'll also note that. Guppy's head, first part of Guppy, very useful. Produces friendly flies, so we'll use that, use the battery, and then take our D6 back. Flies are very, very strong. They do a lot of damage because they are multiplied by the damage that you have. I can't remember. I think they're like your damage, like multiplied by like 1.5 or something like that, or 1.25. So you'll probably see that when they connect with an enemy, they will do a lot of damage. So now we're going to use our death card because that will do damage to every part of Mom. And also you can see that the tears traveling through walls is going to be very useful for crowd control. Like on all the mobs that spawn. Blue Mom just spawns tougher enemies than normal. We are gonna go into our devil room here. There's only one item, screw it. Atami, it's actually kind of useful. When you get hit, it'll spawn a ring around you that will do a lot of damage to enemies. Now here, you want to take the Polaroid if you want to have fun, because that lets you go to the chest after going to the cathedral. Curse the Blind again. Now these guys are annoying. I'll say right now, because they, even when slowed down, they will just be annoying to deal with. Thank you, Dark Bomb. Right, so now we're gonna take a whole heart of damage every time we get hit. Be nice if we get another 2 Guppy pieces, so then we become Guppy, where basically, when you become Guppy, after picking up 3 Guppy pieces, like Guppy's tail, Guppy's head, you don't have to keep a hold of the active item like Guppy's head. You can just pick it up and then leave it. It will count as 1 part of Guppy. When you get to 3 parts out of the possible 5, you will become Guppy, and then you will spawn a fly for every time you hit an enemy. Also, you will note that I just went straight to the boss. This is because there is no item room on this floor, nor is there a shop. So we got one of the 4 horsemen. We got Death, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, of course. And we did not get our devil room, unfortunately. So I'm gonna just take a cube of meat. Okay, so we got another new item. Cube of meat is useful. It blocks shots. It does a ton of damage on contact. It's one of the highest amounts of damage on contact to any enemy. Some rocks are called tinted rocks. They're also known as marked rocks. There will be a little X on them, and those will drop either soul hearts or other resources when you destroy them. You can either destroy them with a bomb. There are items that let you crush rocks when you walk over them. So you've got a couple of options. Bombs are the main way of doing it, though. Another nice thing about Little Brimstone is he has unlimited range, so he's very, very useful there. This is an arcade, by the way. This is very useful because I will, first off, detonate the beggar there. And also this little dude here for a better chance of a devil room. You'll see that's now 85% chance of a devil room, which is going to be very, very useful for us. This guy is a little gambler. So he'll put a coin onto something and you have to guess the right one. You guess the right one, he drops you a prize. In this case, we get a soul heart. Thank you. To get the key here, I only need to do one thing, and that's drop a bomb here. Always drop it on the opposite side from the rock that you're trying to blow up, so it makes a little bridge like that. These rocks here, don't blow those up. Those have a chance to spit shots at you. So also you will start seeing at this point some of the bosses that you've fought before, like Pin, in the occasional room. Of course, by this point, you've leveled your build up enough and you've gotten decent items, so it shouldn't be a problem, really. Those little, like, pink dudes there, they will spit at you, shots at you, and then when you kill them, they turn into these dudes. Pop up. Thank you. Getting those guys to pop their heads out is annoying at times. So we're just going to take all the bombs and keys we can. The reason why you want to take as many keys as you can is because when you get to the chest, every time you go into a room, you have a chance of a golden chest spawning. And if a golden, or just a normal chest, and at that point, any chest, apart from red chests, count as item drops. So they'll drop you a random item. Could be from any pool, from what I remember. Though generally they focus on the item pool. There are items that will guarantee that they're from any pool, like Chaos, for example. Also, these little poops, they're health scales with each floor. It will increase each and every time. Red patch, we're actually going to take over duct tape. Red patch, in fact, no, we are gonna take duct tape. Duct tape is actually probably better for us here, considering we're using Little Brimstone. Duct tape sticks your followers to you and immobilizes your orbitals. So we're gonna take that purely because we bring Little Brimstone closer. We can control where Little Brimstone fires a lot more easily, so we're gonna take that. And you'll see there when we got hit that spawned a thing. Also, you'll notice that I had a little shield bubble around me. That is because when you have the Polaroid, if you have no red heart health, or if you only have half a heart of red heart health, whenever you take damage, you will gain invulnerability for a short amount of time. Now this is basically one of your simple bullet hell bosses. This is Mom's Heart. Has set patterns that get more intensive as we do damage. Will occasionally spawn enemies, in this case, Big Chub. I recommend taking out Big Chub when you can. And also Mom's Heart will occasionally shoot directly at you. And then eventually we'll start doing these lasers that rotate, are the reason to avoid. You got anything for me, Dark Bum? No? Okay, we're gonna go to the Devil Room. Duality. Also, you'll have heard Mom laughing there. That is because there will be Mom's hands, which when they grab you will teleport you out of here. We're actually gonna re-roll that Book of Sin, we're gonna use that to get a heart. Book of Sin will generate a random consumable. Thanks for the friendly spider. We're gonna now detonate the rock behind that, which can occasionally spawn a soul heart. Not in this case though. And now we're gonna move on to the cathedral. So second to last floor, cathedral is where most runs end. So easy way to deal with this floor. So I'm going to drop a bomb there and we're going to move all the way up here. Then drop another one there. And then go straight through there to deactivate those guys and then bail from that and then see if there's a tinted rock. Tinted rocks or marked rocks will appear blue on this floor. That is a mimic. You can see it's a bit darker than the average chest, so we're not going to touch that. Ghosts. These red ghosts will teleport away. You can only damage them when they pop up. These dudes will fire red lasers at you. They don't have a ton of health, but you just got to bear in mind that they will teleport randomly. Always kill the ones with homing first. These little ghosts have an awkward pattern at times, so basically you have to run around to deal with them. Went for the extra coin, but alas, no such luck. We are going to take this because cursed chests may give us guppy pieces, and guppy pieces are always good. Now we got some Larry Juniors. Now we got Monstros. These are normal Monstros, not Monstro 2s. So they'll jump around and then spit multiple shots at you. They're actually easier to deal with than Monstro 2 because they do not spawn flies and they have less health. And they have worse range, so easy to deal with. This is Chub. Charges around the room, much like the little chargers, and will also spawn. Of course, Chub, as you can see, has multiple parts, so items like Little Brimstone, and anything else with piercing will do a ton of damage to it, so they're very, very useful. Kill these dudes very quickly because these versions of these enemies will fire homing shots at you, so take them down quickly. Looking around for a tinted rock, I don't see any. Those dudes are easily dealt with piercing shots as well. We're not going to take that because we don't need the different pattern. Daddy Longlegs is an awkward enemy to deal with. His stomp attack that you saw there is kind of random. So you're gonna kind of get lucky not to get hit by it, but he doesn't have a ton of health, so there. Annoyingly, he dropped a mimic chest, so we're gonna just ignore that. And now we got a couple of super greeds to deal with. As you can see, in the later floors, you can see your mini bosses reappearing as well. As you can see, a theme is very, very powerful. If one of these can drop me a battery, I would be a very, very happy man, because I can then re-roll that. Unfortunately, no. So we're gonna just detonate that guy instead. The reason why I'm still picking up coins is for a better chance of luck. What's this got for me? The tower. That drops a whole lot of bombs. We don't really want to use that, so we're gonna just move on with our lives. And we're gonna fight Isaac. And this is actually a really good thing that he's been slowed for this room because, I mean, we can just sit right here and his shots can't actually reach us. Do bear in mind at this stage of the fight, he will randomly spawn beams of light and also little angel embryos. So bear in mind that he does that. So basically, you see how the pillars of light went from one corner to the other. Always go to the opposite corner. So in this case, here. So the opposite corner from where they spawn. They always go top to bottom. So in this case, other side. This fight tends to get a lot of newer players because if they don't know where those pillars are going to spawn from, or if they don't know that they have to go to the opposite corner to be guaranteed safe, then that usually ends runs. Also, at full speed, this is a lot more difficult. And now we're going to let Dark Bum get this little half heart here, and then we're going to go on to the chest. So like I was saying, in the chest, every chest that you see will spawn an item other than red chests. So we're going to open all these up, because we've got tons and tons of keys. And this is the only one we're going to take here. Pupilla Duplex makes our shots wider, so they've got a bigger hitbox. And we're going to use our reroll now. And then we're going to take PHC, because it's better pills. And then we're going to take this, because then tears can fragment when they hit enemies. So power pill, not really me using it. Turns you into Pac-Man. Double cage. These guys are annoying, because not only do they jump at you and have that ranged attack, a bunch of different ranged attacks, they will also charge around the room. And as you can see, our invincibility from the Polaroid is very, very useful. They will also spawn enemies at times, so keep that in mind. But we took them down, so nice and easy. This gives us a Daddy Longlegs buddy, so we're just going to take it, because why not? That will stomp on enemies. Very useful against this one, actually. Because we barely have to move, and we don't even have to shoot, and we can still do damage. You can see he's getting stomped on there. We're going to take our extra soul heart and get our other one from Dark Bum. These guys are really these guys are not that difficult to deal with, apart from when they're doing their some of their weirder patterns, like the snake-like ones that you can see there. These ones are not too difficult. The versions of these that spawn bombs are more annoying, and the ones that spawn enemies are also more annoying. The ones that just shoot tears are fairly easy. And now, of course, you can see that we've got triple Loki. Loki is a bit of a pushover at this point, to be honest. Because you can use things like little brimstone or your splitter tears, like our bone ones, to deal with him fairly easily. And rooms like this are just, you can just blitz through them. That's really good to get. An extra battery is always good on this floor, because then if we get extra chests, then we're gonna make the most use of them that we can. We're actually going to use our tower card here, because we might actually get something out of it. You can see that a thing, when we actually hit one of the flies that Monstro spawned, generated a black heart for us, and then we're going to use it on one of the Monstros to annihilate him. Because that black circle does a ton of damage when you get hit. One of the best items for damage in the game, as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to take our reroll, and we're not going to move on any further, because you want to maximize the number of rerolls you can get on the chest. Of course, that means the more rooms you get, the better. We are not going to take Lard, because that is not a useful item for us, because it gives you more health, but it gives you more red heart health, but also slows you down by quite a lot. So, not worth getting. Extra bomb is always good for finding the secret room. These guys are annoying, because, yeah. So you see how they fired a beam at me? You dodge that with a quarter circle. So you have to turn a quarter circle to actually dodge them, and if you're further away, it's actually harder to dodge that. There we go. Okay, Dark Bum, get that heart. Okay, so we've got famine and war here. Famine can be a bit annoying. It's not famine, sorry. Where's the pestilence? I can never remember. War will charge at you and drop bombs. And when he gets knocked off his horse, he will charge at you. Occasionally, when he gets hit, he will... Well, when he takes damage, he will spit out some hearts. Or some tears, rather. But he's not much of a threat. This is a bit annoying to see as a room, because that's basically just a room wasted on getting no charge to our active item. We do, however, have our secret room. It gave us a bunch of keys, which is good if we find more chests. See what this guy drops us. Nothing of use. Toenail, not really worth taking. Does not do a ton of damage. Basically, where you're pointing, it will basically just shoot an invisible beam of damage that is hit scan. It's not worth taking. Doesn't do a lot of damage. And again, we get war. Easy enough to deal with. And then we're going to just open this chest. We get the blank card. That is useful if you've got either a rune or a card. Essentially, it's a 4-rune charge. If you have one of the different runes that either rerolls items or gives you soul hearts, it's very, very useful. Because there are ways of getting using that to get unlimited rerolls. There are ways of breaking the game using it. It's a pretty strong card. Rune bag. We're not going to bother taking that right here. That drops runes at random at the end of a room. Doesn't do it every single room. There's a chance it won't. There's a chance it will. Black poops. These guys will. I can't remember the name of this particular. It is a boss that appears. The black version will charge at you. Bumbo, we're not going to take. Picks up coins, gets stronger, attacks enemies. Not worth taking. Not at this stage. So we got our different sins. This is Wrath that we're shooting. And that is Lust that's chasing after us. But when they're slowed down, there's no chance. And then Sloth, of course, the last one to go down there. Justice gives you one of each item. I cannot remember what this item does. This is a new one on me.
Justice.
So we're going to take Justice, because that gives you one of each item. A little heart for Dark Bum to take there. I'm not going to take that. I'm actually going to look that up on Platinum God rather than re-roll it as well. So we found the boss room as well. So we're looking pretty good. We will go for one more other room before we actually fight the boss, because we want to get as many rerolls. Because we want to make this build as silly as possible. These little dudes sit around and fire shots at you. They're not much of a threat. Here we got another battery, which is good. Mutant spider. We're actually going to take that because that gives us spot shot. It lowers our rate of fire, but that actually ups our DPS overall. Because there is also one that gives you triple shot, but that's not worth taking because that lowers your rate of fire actually further than this does, and it's not worthwhile. So let me jump over to Platinum God, and I will find out what this item is before we actually take it. So platinumgod.co.uk is your website to go to. And that item, if I can go down here, is Sprinkler. When used, spawns a sprinkler that rotates in a circle. It's an active item, so it's not worth taking at this point. Okay. So we're gonna leave that for now. And we are gonna reroll Bumbo. Oh boy! We're gonna leave that for now. That turns our shots into explosive shots. That could be very dangerous for us. And we are going to go ahead and go up and reroll Rune Bag. That's Aquarius. It leaves a trail of blue tier stuff behind us. Not worth taking. We're just going to take Sprinkler so it's in our collection, and then we're just going to go ahead and move up this way. Aquarius at this point is not actually bad for us to take. Also, another reason for picking up an active item is that it removes it from the pool of items that you can then pick up later on. So it's often worth doing. So this is another active item. This is the Notched Axe. This will, when you use it, it lets you destroy every rock in the room by walking over it. One room use each time, each charge. So we're gonna go ahead and re-roll blank card. Yes, Holy Light. Basically, that there's a chance that well, the better your luck, the more shots will be like this each time you fire. But those shots, when they hit a target, the glowing ones there that you can see, they will produce a beam of light similar to the ones that Isaac shot at us in the cathedral, and those do a ton of damage. We go this way. So as you can see, when we hit these guys, you'll occasionally see a beam of light pop down. That's very, very useful for our DPS. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything else, but we're going to go for the fun. We are going to pick up the explosive one, because that does mean that it will... We're still going to pick up Aquarius anyway. And we're going to take this. Ipecac. As you can see, shots will arc. They will hit enemies mid-air, so follow the shadows. So if you've got an enemy that you're not sure about if you'll hit or not, make sure the shadows hit. Make sure the shadow of your shot hits the enemy. And as you can see, we're pretty powerful at this point. And yeah, that was the chest. And now we're just gonna hop into box there, and that is that. So guys, hope you enjoyed this. It is a longer video. But yeah, hopefully I'll get around to doing more of these. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was nice to make a non-World of Tanks video for once. And I'll see you guys on the next one.